The hum of the club's lights was a familiar buzz in Dave's ears, a low-grade headache he'd endured for more years than he cared to admit. The generic techno beat pulsed through the room, barely registering against his jaded senses. His turntables were an extension of himself, the mixers and crossfader responding like old friends as he pushed through another forgettable set. Like every other, tonight's crowd was a haze of sweaty bodies and blinking neon, their shouts and whoops drowned out by the music. It used to be fun, this life he'd chosen. A long, long time ago. A tap on his shoulder startled him. He blinked at the figure beside him. Not exactly human. Translucent, bug-eyed, and disconcertingly tall, the alien stared at Dave with the focused intensity of a scientist about to dissect a fascinating frog. "You," the alien chirped, his voice high-pitched and grating. "You are the music maker?" Dave could only nod. His mouth had gone dry. Was this a weird dream? Had someone unknowingly spiked his club soda with something psychedelic? "Excellent," the alien's voice buzzed. A webbed hand clamped down on Dave's shoulder and hauled him through the dance floor with surprising strength. The crowd parted like water, too lost in their own world to notice Dave getting cosmically kidnapped. The next thing he knew, Dave was on a spaceship. White lights, sterile surfaces. It could have been ripped straight from a B-movie. "We have studied your kind," the alien, its name was apparently Kiz, Dave had gleaned that much, explained while gesturing vaguely at a glowing console. "Your music, it has power. We require this power." Dave blinked dumbly. "You mean like top 40 hits? Club beats?" Kiz chirped what Dave assumed was the alien equivalent of a condescending laugh. "Oh no, nothing so crude. We wish to analyze the fundamental elements of the music itself: frequency, rhythm, and sonic structure. Surely you understand there must be hidden complexities beneath the surface, patterns that hold sway over the human mind." Dave thought back to his playlist for the evening. Macarena, Aqua, a random polka remix he'd found while desperately searching for an ironic birthday set. "Yeah, sure. Deep patterns," he muttered. The alien set Dave up in a lab-like room, hooking him to equipment that looked suspiciously like mind-reading devices. He was left alone with his CDs, but the aliens hovered outside, observing him through screens with clinical interest. Dave shrugged and figured he might as well play along. The lab was filled with the opening notes of Barbie Girl. Kiz winced and chittered something into his communicator. Another alien hurried in and adjusted some flashing dials. The music shifted, lower, slower, and somehow oddly sinister. Dave had to admit, it sounded way more relaxed. The days became a blur of cheesy pop and nostalgic earworms, each song dissected and altered by the alien scientists into strange, haunting new melodies. Techno beats morphed into pulsing rhythms that set Dave's teeth on edge. Even the Macarena became warped into something akin to a dystopian battle hymn. As worried as he was, part of Dave couldn't help but be impressed. These aliens were taking his B-list playlist and turning it into something, well, potent. It was like giving a kid with a magnifying glass a box of ants. Fascinating, but probably not end well for anyone involved. Every so often, Kiz would bustle in, buzzing with excitement. Each time he'd play the altered tracks and then scrutinize Dave with the same focused look he'd given him in the club. The human DJ could feel his stomach twist uneasily. Were they figuring out how to use his music for mind control? "Progress," Kiz announced after playing a particularly unsettling distortion of a forgotten 90s boy band hit. "The resonance, the patterns, they are aligning." He gestured excitedly towards a monitor displaying a complex neural map. "We are close, very close to unlocking the secret to manipulation." Dave swallowed. Was it him, or did the alien have a gleeful glint in its eye? It was then that the idea hit him. If these aliens were so fixated on finding hidden patterns that unlocked human behavior, what if the key wasn't in the music? What if it was just that they overthought everything? Dave began requesting his most absurd tracks. The novelty songs, the one-hit wonders, the stuff you only listen to after too many cocktails. He dug up polka remixes and a bizarre yodeling track he discovered in a bargain bin. With every ridiculous song, the aliens looked more and more baffled. Kiz paced, tendrils twitching in agitation. Dave could hear frustrated chirps through the wall as his alien captors desperately tried to find a pattern, a reason, in the sonic chaos he unleashed. Finally, a few days filled with chipmunk covers and an off-key Christmas album later, Kiz stormed into the lab, the segmented plates of his exoskeleton rattling with what Dave could only imagine was pure alien frustration. "This is nonsensical," the alien warbled, his voice reaching an almost comical pitch. "There is no logic to this sound, no controlling pattern, no resonance we can exploit." And there it was, Dave's chance. "Of course not," he said, feigning indignation. "You can't analyze your way through music. It's about what you feel, the memories it brings back, he searched for the right word, the pure ridiculousness of it." Kiz stared at Dave as if the human had sprouted a second head. The alien's antennae tilted in that way that Dave had come to recognize as confusion. "Ridiculousness is the key?" Dave shrugged, trying to look mysterious. "Who can say? Human behavior is a fickle thing, you know." He watched with hidden glee as the realization spread across Kiz's face. The project, the one they'd been so sure held the key to galactic domination, was starting to seem rather pointless. "Perhaps," Kiz conceded, deflation thick in his voice, "perhaps we have misjudged your kind." Ultimately, they shipped Dave back home with a head full of strange memories and an even stranger sense of accomplishment. His playlist may not have been the galaxy-conquering weapon the aliens imagined. Still, at least it had saved them from a fate worse than death, being mind-controlled by an accordion-fueled Oompa band from the darkest recesses of the internet. As Dave climbed back behind his turntables, the lights, hum, and pounding beat felt new. He'd always seen his career as a bit of a joke. Still, maybe he had power after all. Not to rule the galaxy, but to make people remember the simple joy of a ridiculous song. And in a universe filled with hyper-intelligent aliens, a little joyful ridiculousness might be the most potent weapon.